Hello, welcome to DothanFirst.com, where we've been talking with attorney David Harrison and Andrew Scarborough. They're the legal team for Coley McCraney, who's accused in the murders of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hallett. And let's get everybody up to speed if they missed the 5 o'clock broadcast tonight. We talked about the job of a juror on television, and both of you agree that knowledge of the case won't taint a jury pool, but it's a matter of can they come in, see evidence as it is, and do the job presented before them. So I want to ask you, for our online crowd, the prosecutors think they can't get an unbiased jury. You both obviously disagree with that, right?
Yes, I think the people of Dale County can be quite fair. I think that having knowledge of this case it's a given. Everyone has knowledge of this case, but the people of Dale County are good people, and I think that they can administer and be impartial in their decision.
The question that will be asked by the judge if someone raises their hand and says, I know something about the case, will be this. I'm sure Judge Fillmore will ask them if you can push aside what you've heard about the case, push aside the opinions in the news, and predicate it based on just the evidence that's in the courtroom. And if their answer is yes, they will be a good jury member. And that's all we're asking for, is a fair and impartial trial. So I think that they can't get an untainted jury veneer is just maybe a misrepresentation, because certainly the judge can cure it by asking the jury veneer member to set aside opinions and go by the evidence that is introduced in the courtroom that day.
So the hearing coming up on July 12th will be where Judge Fillmore will decide if this will remain open or closed. What do you expect to happen that day as far as the process, and not necessarily outcome, but when you go into this hearing, what will be potentially some of the arguments on the table there? Well,
obviously, do you mean as far as procedurally?
Yeah.
Well, to begin with, the state will make argument because it was initially their motion, and then we will make argument, counter argument to that, and then possibly some witnesses will testify. As far as arguments, I think David has made reference to several of them. The fact that, number one, the state is the party asking for this gag order, and it has been the prosecution or the state that has disseminated all the information up to this point in time. So again, so we want to put out our information and then shut down everything else, and I think that's wrong.
Will Coley McCraney come to this hearing?
Sure, absolutely.
He'll come to all of them, I guess, between now and the trial?
Absolutely.
What's going on with him right now? You talk to him pretty regularly?
We do.
I would assume. What's his spirit like right now?
I think his spirit's good. I mean, he has faith in God. He hates that these families have gone through this, J.B. and Tracy's family. He hates that his family is suffering as well. But Coley McCraney steadfastly stands on the fact that he is innocent. And he is looking forward to his day in trial, looking forward to going before a jury and being judged.
Dave, let me ask you about this crystal ball that you pulled out at the first hearing. What was kind of the purpose of that? Do you believe it proved the point you wanted to make?
Well, you know, I'm not from Ozark. I have an office in Ozark now, but I'm not originally from Ozark. I really haven't followed these cases until I was hired by the family to represent Mr. McCraney. And I saw so many things on, I think, Ghostbusters or all these, where the chief of police and maybe the lead investigator were driving around members of this cast to try to determine who killed these people. That's where I got the idea from. And there's no more evidence, no more evidence. Probably don't need to say that, but so I wanted to ask him, maybe the crystal ball will help them determine who did it, because they have no more evidence today than they did in 1999.
Gotcha. Is there any final comments that you two would like to make about where we're at in this process and what lies ahead?
Well, I think from our standpoint, we're right where we anticipated to be. As far as the proceedings, where we are as far as him being indicted, we both anticipated that from the beginning. and we're just ready to rock and roll. We're ready to present our case and put Coley McCraney's story out.
You know, I want to say this. I think that, you know, myself and the prosecutor's office in this case have been handling cases with David Emery 30 years and with Kirk Adams probably 20 years. So we're all accustomed to handling these kind of cases. This one's different because of the stress. What I want everyone to understand is that I think that the premise of democracy is transparency. I think that if these proceedings are sealed and gagged, I think it will absolutely be a miscarriage of justice, because right now the people in this area want to know the truth. Every day that I go to church, every day that I go to the shopping center, someone says, all we want is the truth. Well, we're going to bring the truth. We want the truth. And that's what we're going to do. And then maybe JB and Tracy's family can have some closure. And right now they don't. And so we're looking forward to being able to put a closure for not just this family or these families, for everybody in the community, because it's something that has haunted this community for a long, long time. And I just want to let everybody understand that, you know, 1.4 million Americans died for Coley McCraney to be innocent until proven guilty in the foreign wars. And that's what we're steadfastly standing on today, is that we're innocent.
I think just one more thing in reference to the gag order, or the proposed gag order. I think the best analogy is the prosecution has created this magic show, and now they want to drop the curtain before anyone sees how the trick is performed. And I think that sums it up pretty well.
I want to thank you both for your time today, and of course we're going to stay in close contact with as many folks as we can throughout the process of this leading up to trial as long as we can, which you know, we'll find out on July 12th how much contact and access we'll have to this case. But we thought it was important for folks to hear from you today, and we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you
for having us.
Glad to be here.